Good evening and good afternoon. We are thrilled to have you all here at SAS Innovate. My name is Joy DeBolt and I work here at SAS, and I have the pleasure of introducing your speaker for this session, Cody Shive from our wonderful partner AWS. So I'm going to hand it over to Cody, and thank you for being here, Cody.
Hey everyone. So let's do a quick mic check. I can't hear what you're hearing. I can hear myself. Okay, so you're good? So everybody go ahead and make sure you've got your headphones on, because there's a lot going on here. So welcome. My name is Cody Shive, and I work for Amazon Web Services. I'm a what we call Partner Solutions Architect, and I'm here to talk a little bit about SAS Intelligent Planning. SAS Intelligent Planning just got smarter with generative AI, and I'm going to talk about that and show you. So here's the agenda. It's really simple. We're going to talk a little bit about the potential of generative AI. We're going to talk about what makes AI generative. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. Not that you don't know the history, just as a reminder. We're going to talk about why generative AI matters to a category manager or a planner, anybody who has to work with supply chain. We're going to go through a short demonstration. Now, I'm going to give you a caveat. I have an active AWS account running intelligent planning, and I can show it to you. It works. Screen's too small. So I have captured video, which I think I'm going to use instead. But if you say, well, I want to see this actually working, well, just go over to Mike's booth. He's got his hand up. And he can show you there. It's actually working. We can work through it. You can see it. And then after that, we'll go through some key moments. So you know the rule, right? Tell them what you're going to tell them, show them, tell them what you told them, right? And then we're going to just talk about, I think I'll throw a slide up about here are the events that you can apply for, and then we'll move forward from there. So the potential of generative AI, and this is one of those sort of rare slides. I don't really go into Forrester and to Gartner and really talk too much about the statistics, because you're getting slammed with that on LinkedIn and every other news feed. But these are very important statistics. Forrester sees a 55% share of overall AI spend coming all the way through 2030. And what that means is you're seeing more and more money being pumped into this notion of generative AI, more AI, and in fact, Gartner is mirroring that by saying, look, we see increases for IT spending across servers. Just servers, server farms, $22 billion. $97 billion in software, and at least $173 billion in services. That's a crazy amount of money. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Because generative AI is where it's at. So what makes generative AI generative? You all know this, right? You got oceans of text. You got all these images, you've got audio, tables, all kinds of graphics. We need a way to be able to communicate with it. So we have this thing called a prompt. It's where you type something in. Generative AI then pulls this together, pulls the data, answers the prompt, and then gives us generated information, generated text, conversations, videos, images. In fact, we're rolling out quite a bit at AWS just in our new imaging capabilities. 3D systems, graphs, things like that. So you get it. How did we get there? We've got to stand on top of prior work that's been done. So if you look at the scale of this, right? We've got computer science. Then we've got artificial intelligence. Then we've got machine learning, deep learning. Gen AI is the glue that pulls all these things together, right? So Data science, and we've all been doing this. Most of the people in this room, we're almost in the same age bracket. I'm very young, I'm like 17. Cleansing was where I started, cleaning up data, right? Well, we've got things like clean rooms at AWS, we can help you with that. Analytics, visualization. I was working in CICS doing visualization years ago, and anybody who doesn't know what that is, I'll tell you later. Artificial intelligence, optimizing and forecasting, that started to get a trend. Machine learning, we got these notions of random forest, gradient boost, clustering, SMOTE. And if you're wondering more about those, there's the very talented folks on the floor from SAS who can talk to you about SMOTE. Deep learning, that includes autoencoders. Neural networks, I remember learning about neural networks in the early aughts. And then you've got recurrent neural networks, and you've got GANs. It goes to the point now where we have all of this data, a huge amount of it. We bring in this natural language processing that just makes sense out of what we're saying, right? And the large language model then combines these two. Now, this is not new to any of you in this room, I'm sure. But this is the technology that everybody is looking to make use of today. And you're seeing it in applications from ISVs across the board. I have every one of my partners at AWS is doing something with generative AI, where they're either building descriptions, they're building pictures, they're putting pictures in rooms. But how does SAS use generative AI? And how do they use it to help a category manager? Because remember, intelligent planning is about managing your supply chain and making sure that you can get products onto the shelf at the right time. So we start with SAS Viya. Everybody has heard of SAS Viya. It's the substrate on which all of the SAS applications run. We bring in copilots. Now, this is Viya copilots. Viya copilots are sort of these aids or helpers that help each one of the Viya applications in a different way. We also combine synthetic data, right? Because if you think about it, let's say you've got a grocery chain, 200 stores, and you want to synthesize data for an entire year, but you only have maybe data for a month. Well, you can take that item catalog, you can take data from movement for a week, and you can put it into a synthetic generator, and there's one on the floor. SAS has one that they've built out using SMOTE, and you can build out years of projected transactions that then you could use for synthesizing data and then projecting different situations that you might come up with. So this is a lot bigger than just intelligent planning. But when we start talking about intelligent planning, so I was here a year ago and we were looking at intelligent planning, and it's great. It can do everything for you. Intelligent planning already gives you insights. Like this is telling you, hey, you probably ought to look at this plan, there's a problem, right? SAS Intelligent Planning already gives you forecasts. It already does planning for you and it looks to see, hey, something's out of kilter, so it gives you an alert. Gives you tasks to do. This is better than my wife. What else could you ask it to do? I mean, that's a pretty complete package. Well, here's what you could do. SAS Intelligent Planning could let you talk to it. And I encourage you to come by the booth, because when I talk to an LLM, I ask it stupid questions like, how are you today? Can you give me now, it doesn't always answer the question the way I want it, but SAS Intelligent Planning will give you up to 24 different ways that it can help you. The Copilot addition to SAS Intelligent Planning is fantastic. And here's an example. This example that you see, and you'll see it in the video that I'm going to run, asks which 5 products, lowest actual shipment quantity. So when you think about what a planner is doing, think about it from, you're actually a category manager and you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do about these tariffs that are coming in? They're messing my prices up, right? They're messing my costs up, which are messing with my retail pricing. How am I going to handle this? Well, while you're working on your plan, you can ask the Copilot, you can say to SAS Copilot for Intelligent Planning, hey, go figure out this for me. Go tell me what the actual ship quantity is for a particular SKU, because what I might want to do is I might want to take off the top of one of my top performers, right? So I can sort of help with some of my lower performers and maybe offset that tariff that's coming through. So that's an example. Here's the problem that we're going to look at. And understand this is a very simple problem. I'm not solving this problem the way a real category manager would probably solve the problem. In fact, if there are any category managers in the room, please don't be mad at me, because I don't think you do what I did. But we're going to go ahead and take a look. Oh. We're going to take a look at it. There we go. Is it running? Good. So I recorded this so that I could use it for this kind of setup. It's easier for me to do this and show you. So remember we talked about how SAS Intelligent Planning will give you an alert. So we see that an alert has occurred. Dashboard shows these alerts, and then it also gives the recommendations as to what to do with those alerts. In that insights section, it's already done the work behind the scenes to tell you, hey, you might want to go and take a look at this particular plan. In this case, the plan versus the actual for the forecast is off. And so we want to go try to fix that. And the reason that it's off is we've got these tariffs that are now affecting our planning. So we have to do something about that right now. So we're looking at the demand plan, and what we're looking for is which brand has really thrown this out of kilter. And so as we kind of scroll down, we're looking at these different metrics, our demand plan revenue, cost of goods sold, gross margin, and what we're going to do is see, well, which brand is messing with this. So we kind of scroll down and we look through, so you can see our weekly average is off. And so because that's not meeting our financial plan, we've got some work to do. So now as we scroll down, see we've got a couple of different brands. We've got a brand called Claire and we've got a brand called Burt. And we can see that we have a problem with one of those brands, and what we want to do is try to see whether we can make a change to the plan that will positively affect our total gross profit. And as you know, gross profit is really important when we're in the planning stage, because we're looking weeks out, months out sometimes, based on demand, based on what we can get from our supply chain and the pricing that we can get from our supply chain. Because remember, that changes all the time. So we got a request that was sent to us to review the plan, so we're going to go ahead and review that plan. Now, as we bring the plan into view, we have an opportunity to do a little more than just look at the plan. We have an opportunity to ask Copilot to go and do some work for us. And so right now we're saying, give me the top 5 products that are actually being shipped based on shipment quantity. Now, while that's happening in the background, the planner can go off and do other things with the plan. Now, I'm just kind of scrolling around to show that you can do things with the plan, but, and it does take time, because what's happening in the background here is the Copilot is actually going out, creating a query, running it, and then returning you results. Now, contrast what you're seeing with what a planner would have to do today. They'd have to stop what they're doing, write a query in some query language, select whatever from whatever table, group by, order by. They don't have to do that because Copilot just did it for them. So what it told them was, go take a look at this particular product because it's the highest mover, and let's go ahead and highlight that one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the tariff amount in so that we can manage that, and then we're going to offset that. So here you see I've got you see the two green lines? They're highlighted. Those are the lines that we're interested in this scenario, where we're going to alter the price of the tariff, so that's an up, right? And we're going to try to offset that. So the planners, that's what he's doing, that's what the planner is doing at this moment. They are going to make that change in March to be able to hopefully get the gross profit back in line. So as I do that, take a look in that top right corner, scenario. That's just a scenario that they're working on, but we're going to create a new scenario because we want to leave that one scenario in place. Now we want to create a new scenario and see how we can alter some of the pricing. And again, remember, this is an actual planner is going to go through a lot more detail than this, but just to show you the offsetting capability and how it's working with Copilot, we're just going to put in some plug numbers here so that you can see that it actually works. So we're going to put a revised tariff cost of $1 in, and then we're going to recalculate. And for folks who are thinking, well, I can do this in Excel, okay, if you want to, but that's a lot of work, because what's happening in the background when you don't see this running overnight and in the early hours of the morning is SAS is doing more work, via platforms doing more work, to make sure that all of your plans continue to move in the right direction. So scenario 2 does, and yes, if you look at that, you'll see $1, and then the bottom, it would normally show a percent. That's just a formatting. So we're changing this to $1.25. So we've got an up on one side, so we've got our cost is up $1. We're gonna revise our retail to $1.25 to try to offset that in scenario 2. Get that recalculated. Margin looks a little better this time. Now that planner's able to go and take a look side by side in just a minute. So the scenario comparison, of course, this is still, remember, this is intelligent planning as of today with Copilot, but Copilot has helped this planner go out and get some raw data so that they could modify one of the products in particular. This is really important. This is really important because that one product now, that one change has put them in scenario 2 into the green. Now this looks really simple because I had to make it simple, right? But at the end of the day, look at your top mover. Can I take some off the top? Can I make this work with the rest of the products so that I can keep my entire plan working? The answer is yes. So this particular category manager is going to go ahead and say, well, I think I've solved the problem, but management always has to sign off on stuff, right? So let's just ask SaaS Copilot for Intelligent Planning to give us a hand, right? So I'm just going to say, let's say whoever user one is, let's say that's the manager, know about that change. Then we'll see if they approve the plan. So key moments. Key moments are SaaS Intelligent Planning lets you talk to it, ask questions. I have 2 minutes. Ask questions and get answers like this. SaaS Copilot for Intelligent Planning quickly analyze shipping information. Again, don't discount that. You know what you would have to do. You would have to go off and query that maybe in another system. Let you create a scenario so you can test this out all day long until you finally get it right. And then let you have a side-by-side. I mean, how much easier does it get, right? So in the end, so we've got our intelligent plan that lets you compare your scenarios, and at the end of it, you have not left your dashboard. You haven't left your desk. Well, maybe for a bathroom break, right? You let your manager know, and there you go. Now, I have this schedule a custom demonstration because I actually have this running in AWS. It's in my account, and Michael Presley can show you, and if I'm around, I can show you, and we can actually play with Copilot a little bit, ask it some questions like tell me a joke, see whether it can. Okay, so don't forget retail, consumer, and hospitality. Agenda at a glance. We'll leave this up here in case you're looking for something to do while you're here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your attention. Thank you for being here and not at the social, although I'm going right there for a glass of wine next.